Hello, and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, people of the tube. Hope you are feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to an A&Q Wednesday. It's particularly cold this morning. I don't know why, but, well, why? Because it's winter time, Dave, you fool! He's a clever boy, sometimes. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to question one today. Okay, so question one today is... Do you usually use, I have issues with the U word, do you usually use E-flat tuning? In the trio, yes. When and if the Dave Simpson trio rides again, I always play in E-flat in the trio, just because I find it easier to sing. And I like the tonality more of E-flat. In all fairness, I like the tonality of E-flat over D standard or standard tuning, to be honest with you. There's just something about E-flat that I really... I think it's because of like hearing Jimi Hendrix kind of use it, and bands like Green Day use it, and kind of growing up with bands like Guns N' Roses and Alice in Chains, and, you know, a lot of bands that, like, you know, I really, really like... kind of use E-flat as kind of like a their standard tuning, if you will. I mean, Jerry Cantrell calls E-flat Alice tuning, which is really cool. But I do love E-flat. I love the tonality of E-flat. I don't really use it a great deal if I'm not singing. But again, it is probably my favourite kind of tuning, kind of tonally. But it's not. It's something I use kind of a lot, but not a lot. I don't know if that makes any sense. But like, it's one of those tunings that I do kind of like have a bit of an affinity for over others. Although D standard tuning, which means like you're basically just tuning everything down a whole tone. So instead of like EAD, it's It's D G C to start with. There's something about that tuning that really kind of like, you know, it's the Jimi Hendrix Fillmore East machine gun tuning. There's something about a Stratocaster in D standard on the neck pickup. There's something very magical about that tone. Really, really magical about that tone. It's really, really awesome, and I love it to bits. But E-flat's really cool. I remember reading an interview with Rory Gallagher, and he was saying like how he was terrified of E-flat tuning. He would never use E-flat. Rory was always in standard, and he didn't like E-flat. Somebody asked him would he ever go to E-flat to like sing, and he was like, no, don't like it. You know, he really didn't like E-flat. You know, but there is a certain tonality to E-flat that's really cool, but then there's a tonality to E standard, but. D standard, sorry. Standard tuning, I think, is really nice, though, as well, in certain keys. I think certain keys in standard tuning can sound a little ugly sometimes, whereas in E-flat and D standard and some other tunings, every key kind of sounds nice, whereas like standard tuning, I think, can have ugly moments. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but to me, anyway, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else hears that, but like certain keys in kind of like standard tuning, I really don't like. Like, it's just they're all okay, but like when you down tune a little bit, sometimes it gives it an extra kind of character, which I really, really like. So do I usually use E-flat tuning? Occasionally now. If I ever play live, I always shove my guitar into E-flat, and if I want standard tuning, I just capo the first fret. But I do have a guitar. I mean, my first ever Oswald guitar over there that's sat in the guitar rack, that's always in E-flat. I always keep that guitar in E-flat. The guitar seems to love it. I also have a guitar back home in England, which is a Korean Squier Fender thing. It's kind of a weird hybrid. That guitar works best in either it works okay in E-flat. It hates standard tuning. Like, standard tuning is a no-no for this guitar. E-flat works okay. D standard tuning, so everything down a tone, just suits that guitar perfectly. I don't know why, but for some reason when you tune that guitar to D standard, the guitar comes alive. It's totally bizarre, and it's really, really cool, and I love it because of that. But yeah, I mean, E flat tuning is something that, like, you know, I recommend everybody to kind of, like, you know, at least try, you know, a couple of times, you know, not just once. It's something, like, you know, to kind of, like, keep coming back to and messing with and seeing how you go with it, because I think there's a lot to be said for that tonality. I mean, I remember seeing a video a while back. Rhett Shull did a video on why the Strats sound better in E flat, and it's like, you know, I get his point in that video, but I think a lot of guitars sound better in E flat. I mean, this Columbus sounds great. This Columbus sounds great in open C. It sounds amazing in open C. The Gretsch sounds great in E flat. You know, the Ibanez Gem sounds great in E flat. You know, a lot of these guitars. You know, I really like the sound of a Les Paul in E flat. It sounds great. You know, my Revelation, which I should have bought. I'm such an idiot. Is amazing. Was amazing. I haven't sold it. You know, is amazing in E flat. You know, the Lemon Drop was as well. So it's not just Strats, I think, that sound good in E flat. I think all guitars do. I mean, my Telecaster, my Oswald Tele over there is in open C, and again, that's an amazing tuning for that guitar. It's such a, I don't know why, Telecasters and open tunings. Guess you're a bit hot under the collar sometimes, I tell you. Anyway, but yeah, amazing things you can get out of different tunings. It's so much fun to mess around with tunings, especially like stuff like E flat and D standard and open C, open G, open D minor, open D major. Open A is really good fun. I don't really like open A as much though. It's kind of probably my kind of meh kind of tunings. Dadgad is another gorgeous tuning. But as for E flat, yeah, I mean, I love E flat. I love the tonality of E flat. I love the tonality of D standard as well. But E flat is there's something very special about it. But do I use it all the time? No. You know, most of the time I'll probably be in standard tuning because I like to play along to albums. And if I'm not playing along to Thin Lizzy or Jimi Hendrix or Guns N' Roses, or Alice in Chains, most of the songs I'll play along to will be in standard tuning. So most of the time, my guitars are in E standard, but if I'm gigging, they're always in E flat. Unless I'm not singing, in which case it could be anything. But yeah, well, I love E flat. E flat tuning is ace. It really is awesome, and I love it to bits. So, people of the tube, I put this one to you. Who uses E flat tuning? And if you don't use E flat, what is your favourite tuning? Let us know in the comment section below. I'm very curious to read your comments and let us know what your favourite tuning is, because there's so many out there, it's ridiculous. I really want to try, actually, before I finish with this question, I really want to try Robert Fripp's new standard tuning at some point. It's bizarre. It seems absolutely like mental to me, but I really want to try it because, yeah, it's insane. It looks really cool, and I like the idea of what it is. It's very clever, and it works, and it's just very clever. It's very clever. Anyway. So I'm going to move on to question 2 now. Okay, so question 2 is what's your experiences with brass nuts and brass saddles? Okay, so brass nuts, I hate brass nuts on guitars. They add a certain brightness and a zing that I really do not get along with at all. I really don't like it. I've tried a couple of guitars with brass nuts, and each time they feel and sound tonally wrong. I really do. Give me a second, everybody. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so where are we? Yeah, experiences with brass nuts and brass saddles. Yeah, so like I was saying, brass nuts to me, I've not liked any that I've tried on guitars. They've always kind of been. You can see the reflection of my camera. Anyway, well, shadow of my camera. It's the shadow of the camera. There's a song in there somewhere. Anyway, brass nuts. Yes, let's get there. So I've never liked any guitar with brass nuts. I've tried a few. I had a guitar with a brass nut. What was it? Which guitar had a brass nut, Dave? Or am I thinking of something totally different? No, I swear I had a guitar. I don't know, I'm drawing a blank there, but I swear I had a guitar at one point with a brass nut. I don't remember. I've gone a bit blank. It's too early in the morning. So anyway, but yeah, brass nuts. I don't like them. Like I said, all the guitars I've tried in the past with brass nuts, I really, really, really have not got along with. They just have a zing, and I don't like the zinginess of them. I don't like the way they kind of yeah, they just had a brightness that I really don't like. It's like it's that upper higher kind of trebly thing. I just don't like. Brass saddles, on the other hand, are a different matter. I really love brass saddles, and the brass saddles on my Oswald Telly and the brass saddles and brass tremolo block on my Chapman, which again, I didn't bring because I'm an idiot. God, I miss that guitar. The Chapman and the RTL 59 are one of those guitars that I could just wish I could just nip home and get, and I can't because it's 1,000 miles away. Rather annoying. I should have bought it. I had space. I'm an idiot. Anyway, so the Chapman's got brass saddles and a brass tremolo block, and what that adds is wicked. That guitar to me is kind of like Strat Telly thing from heaven. There is something about that guitar with its brass block and brass saddles that make it really, really awesome. I don't know what it is. The same with my Oswald Telly over there. It's got brass saddles, and there is something about brass saddles. I don't know what it is, but there's this kind of like, again, it is like a brightness, but it's not in difference to a brass nut. It adds a brightness in the right area. Like, I feel like a brass nut is adding kind of like zing in the wrong place on the guitar, whereas the brass saddles are, they work really well. I don't know why that is. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of explanation. In all fairness, I don't really care. I just kind of like know I like it. So, but it is really awesome, and I really, really love brass saddles. They're really, really cool. One day, I'd really like to get some brass saddles and do like an A/B comparison between like normal kind of bent steel saddles, which are my favourite saddles of all time, the classic Strat look, and like A/B them out between like the normal steel saddles, the bent steel ones, and then to the brass ones, and see what the tonal difference is, because I'd love to know, just like just clean as a whistle guitar tone, mic'd up, so there's no kind of interference, and just like just play a couple of chords, a little bit of a kind of like a single notey thing, and just see how much of a difference and what the difference is, because there is definitely something that's different about it. But like I said, the Chapman's a great example of that. It really is, and I need to stop talking about the Chapman because I'm going to get upset. Yeah, I love brass saddles, but I do not like brass nuts. They look cool. I'll definitely give them that. The cool factor of a brass nut cannot be understated, in my opinion. I really love the look of a big brass nut, especially on like a Les Paul kind of style, like something on the Gretsch or the Columbus up there, or like a Les Paul. It's so cool. They look amazing. They look really cool on Strats as well, to be honest with you. But tonally, I really don't like them. I swear I had a guitar. I'm trying to rack my brains to think. I swear I had a guitar for a very brief period with a brass nut. Whether it was mine or not, I forget. But like I say, it is early in the morning, and I'm not quite there yet. So, I haven't had a cup of tea yet. That's why. Oh my god! Anyway, I'll have to rectify that situation after this video. Okay, so anyway, so brass bridges, brass saddles, yes. Brass nuts, no for me. But again, people of the tube, I put this to you. Do you like brass nuts? And if so, why? What is it about a brass nut on a guitar that makes you like it? And also, what style of guitar, if you do have a brass nut, what style of guitar do you have it on? Because that's a curiosity factor as well. Because there's obviously, you can have them on any guitar. So, I'm very curious to read your comments on that one as well. Like, as I say, for me, brass nuts and brass saddles, they're two different animals. Brass nuts are horrible. Brass saddles are yay. Did I get that right way around? I think I got that right around. Anyway, but yeah, so for what that's worth, that's kind of my experience with brass nuts. Is they just add a zing, and I don't like it. Brass saddles add a zing, and I like it. It's totally different play again because they're totally kind of different ends of the guitar. One's low, one's high, one's one's left, one's right, depending on which way the orientation of the guitar is. It totally depends on it, really. But again, also, it's like anything with a guitar. It's just totally subjective. It's down to kind of like your personal preference, what you like, what you love, and what appeals to your ear most. To me, like I say, I'd rather stick with just like normal plastic nuts or bone nuts. I'm not overly fussy as long as it plays well. You know what I mean? But I do love the look of bone. I think bone is my favourite looking nut, especially kind of like when they kind of go kind of transparent and kind of yellowy a bit. They look really cool. I think they look cooler than a brass nut, but either way. But yeah, like I say, people of tube, let us know in the comment section below as well what's your experience with brass nuts, and do you like them? And if you do like them, do you have one? And what guitar do you have it on? And why do you like it? Let us know in the comment section below. Very curious to know. Okie dokie, so let's move on to question 3. My God, is it just all of a sudden gone really dark? I do apologise if the light's changing. The sun is behind the camera, and for some reason the sun moves really fast here. And it just kind of, you've probably noticed the shadow is moving across me. It goes really quick. I don't know what, I don't know why. Of course I don't know why. You're not that clever. Anyway, but the sun seems to shift here very, very fast. Anyway, moving on. So, question 3. Observation time with Dave Simpson. Okay, so question 3 today is, if someone famous wanted you to be a guitar tech for them and on tour, would you do it? No. Unless it was John Frusciante. John would probably be the exception to the rule on that one. But would I be a guitar tech for somebody? No. I don't like the idea of it. It's much in the same way people have asked me in the past, could I relic their guitar for them? Because I've got a lot of guitars that I've relicked, and people message me saying, "Oh, would you relic my guitar for me?" I have to say no. It's the same kind of principle, and the fact is, like, it just feels I couldn't do it. The responsibility of it, I really don't like that responsibility. It feels a little bit strange to me. And the same thing with guitar tech. It's like, I'd be over inclined to set the guitars up the way I wanted and not the way somebody else wanted, because that's the way my brain works. Is like I go to what kind of works for me, and I don't like the idea of kind of like having to change that mindset in a way. But if it was John Frusciante, I could make an exception. But I'm free, John, if you're watching. Okay, so but no, if somebody wants to be a guitar tech, not really. I mean, I don't want to be a guitar tech. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand it could be a very cool job, and I know there's people who really, really enjoy it. But I don't really enjoy the guitar tech side of the guitar. I love to an extent. I love taking guitars apart and fixing them and doing them up and and cleaning them and restoring them and stuff like that. I love that side. But I'm not a technical whiz kid with stuff like, I'm not that mind inclined to be a full-time guitar tech, if you will. Like, I can tech my own stuff and, occasionally other people's things here and there. Setups and stuff like that. But as for doing it like as a full-time thing, no, because I want to play the things. I don't really want to have to be kind of spending all my time restringing, tuning, intonating, changing pickups, setting amps or setting pedals up. I don't want to be doing that. I want to be the one making them sing. I don't really want to be the one, in the wings, if that makes any sense. So I want to be playing them. I love performing live. And guitar teching is not performing live. It's a you're on the sidelines basically. You're basically just kind of like you're there to. You kind of you're the caretaker really, I suppose, in a way is the word I would use. You're a guitar caretaker. I mean, I don't know. I'm not belittling that job because it's an amazing job and I love people who can do it. But for me, it wouldn't work for me. It's one of those jobs that I just wouldn't really enjoy. You know what I mean? I funnily enough, though, in the past I have had offers to be a guitar tech for people, and I have turned them down. Like, people have said, "Oh, would you come and guitar tech for us on this and that and the other?" And I've said no. Because it's not in me to do it. It's not my excuse me. It's not something that I would like to do. I don't want to have to be the one sat watching people play. I want to be the one playing. I mean, that's maybe the spoilt brat in me. Maybe, I don't know, but guitar teching is as much as it, it's a cool thing, and I love watching kind of like, rig rundowns and stuff with people like, Mike Hickey, Joe Bonamassa's tech, and there's people like that, Trace Foster, who's done like who's been a tech for like everyone, and there's Adam Day, who's Slash's guitar tech, and all these other amazing guitar techs. Dave Lee, John Frusciante's guitar tech. I've read a lot of interviews with him and stuff like that. But it's not a job for me. Like I don't want to do that. I want to be performing. I want to be playing. I don't want to be kind of like, in the sidelines, just kind of like tweaking guitars, and doing that. I mean, I don't mind doing that to my own stuff. Like, I love doing that. I love messing with my guitars and changing pickup heights and just experimenting, that kind of thing. But to do it for somebody else feels a bit weird to me. I just don't like it. It just doesn't work for me. So if somebody famous rang, unless it was John Frusciante, of course, I'd make the exception. Like I say, John, I know you're doing a new album, so tour coming, you know where I am. Yeah, not yet though. 2022 maybe. Anyway, weird. Anyway, but yeah, so if somebody asked would I be a guitar tech, not really, because it's not something I would like to pursue. It's not. I like messing with my guitars and friends' guitars for enjoyment. And kind of like, and fixing things and getting, when you buy something it's a bit of a wreck, I like bringing it back to life. But as for kind of like a full-time kind of teching kind of job, not for me, no. I wouldn't like to do it. It'd feel kind of go against what I want to do, if that makes any sense. It just wouldn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel quite right to me. It just feels a bit meh. I don't know. Like I said, I want to be the one playing the guitars, not looking after the guitars, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. I mean, in my brain it does, but I don't know if that's coming out like it makes sense. But yeah, I don't want to be a guitar tech. I want to be a guitarist performer. You know what I mean? And I know that might seem a bit funny and a bit silly, but that's what I want to do, because I love performing music. I love playing live. It really, it's one of my all-time favorite things to do. Is I just love it so much. Live performance has always been, from day dot. I did my first gig, was it 5-6 months after I started playing, and from then on I was just kind of like bitten by that bug of like, this is wicked, I love doing this, and that's why this year has been a bit naff, because, and I'm sure a lot of performing musicians feel the same thing of like, it just feels really cack, to be honest with you, like, you can't perform, and I miss performing so much, I really do. Hence why I'm here. So hopefully, when lockdown lifts or this, that, and the other, I get to perform again, because I don't know when live music would ever come back to the UK at the level I'm at. This is a real shame. But yeah. So hopefully one day soon. Whenever that is. So yeah. So yeah, if somebody famous wanted me to do a guitar tech, no, unless it's John Frusciante, which again is the only exception to the rule, but just because it's John Frusciante. The only other exception to that rule would be Jimi Hendrix, but unfortunately Jimmy's no longer with us, so, or Rory Gallagher, but again, unfortunately Rory's not here either. So John is the only exception to that rule, really. So yeah, would I do it? Not really, like I say, it's not really my kind of line of work. I don't really want to go down that line of guitar techery. Other for my own enjoyment and pleasure, kind of like in my own time kind of thing, and messing around with things. But other than that, I'm not really keen on it. I'm more than happy to kind of like, tweak guitars in my own time, my guitars and my friends' guitars in my own time, and go through them like that. But as for a full-time kind of teching job, not for me. So no, not for me. But people of the tube, this is your Q. This is your A and Q as well today. So if somebody famous wanted you to be a tech for them, would you do it? Let us know in the comment section below. Very curious to know. Okie dokie. So final question of the day, everybody. Question 4 now. And I went boss-eyed. Anyway, question 4, boss-eyed question. Okay, so if you had to decide between the Peavey Bandit and the Boss Katana 50, which one would you choose? Cool question. Cool question. Okay, so to cut a long story short, I would pick the Boss Katana 50 over the Bandit. As much as I love Peavey Bandits, I love the Katanas so much more. The 50's literally just sat behind the camera, just there. And, I just, the Boss Katana 50 was an absolute game changer for me. Like, absolute game changer. When I bought that, I had no expectations of it being good. You know, I thought it'd be okay-ish. You know, I thought, you know, a lot of people are raving about it. It can't be bad. You know, but I don't think it can be amazing. You know, it's tiny as well. Like, when my friend who I bought it off bought it around, I was like, is that it? It was I was confused at the size of it because it's so tiny. I was like, this isn't going to sound that great, and it's not going to be loud enough to gig with, and it's just going to sound small, and it's just not going to be very good. And how little did I, you know, how wrong I was, and how little did I know at that point. Because I mean, I think, you know, the live stream's still on here somewhere. The first time I plugged that thing in, and I was just like floored by it, absolutely floored by it. And I still am, to this day, when I plug into the 50 watt, I am just like, no way. There is no way that sound is coming out of that amp. You know, it's just incredible. I am in awe of the Boss Katana. I love them so much. They really are just like ridiculous. And I say the artist that sat over there, the Boss Katana artist, that is my perfect amp. You know, it really is my perfect amp. It does everything I want it to do, and it sounds the way I want it to sound. It's just unreal. So, which one would I pick? I would pick the Boss Katana 50 any day of the week. I really would. And the volume of that thing, oh! You're not going to struggle to be heard with the Boss Katana 50. You're really not. I mean, in a band situation, you're probably looking getting the volume maybe about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. But my God, it's so loud at that point. You know, anywhere, I mean, in all fairness, I think above 12, if you have to turn the 50 above 12, you're too loud. You know, at that point, it's just kind of like it's stupid at that point, because it's just dangerous levels. You know, that Katana 50 there, I have never gigged that thing above 10 o'clock. You know, 10 o'clock is the loudest I've ever got that 50 watt. And that was with a full band. That was John Joe. That was with the trio. And in all fairness, that gig, when I used that, I had to turn it down to 9 o'clock. And I did most of the gig with it at 9 o'clock. And there's a video on this channel somewhere of us doing Voodoo Child. And I'm using the Katana 50 with a full drum kit, Ampeg 410 bass cab with the orange bass terror head going on. I think it's like I can't remember what the wattage of it. I think it's 1,000 watt bass head, and I'm using the Katana 50 on with the volume at 9 o'clock, and it just cuts right over the top. It's just perfect, and it's just unreal. Okay, so why would I pick that over the Peavey Bandit? Like I say, look, just to change the subject quickly. Look where the sun is now. It started here. It's there in the space of what? 20 minutes, if that. Insane. Okay, so it rises so quick. Okay, so why would I pick it over the Bandit? Okay, so one thing is size. The Bandits are massive. Peavey Bandits are a big amplifier, and they take up a lot of space, whereas the Katana 50 is absolutely tiny. And every gig I've done since getting the Katana 50, I've always took it to every gig. Yeah, I have. Every gig I've ever done since I got the 50, I've took it to pretty much every gig. If not every gig. I can't say every gig because I'm not 100% sure. But because if I get to a venue that I don't know, and say I've bought my MG half stack here, or even like, you know, something like the CR120 half stack, or even say the artist, for instance, you know, sake of argument, say like the Boss Katana artist. If I get to a venue where the venue's, and I'm playing in a really cramped small place, and I'll struggle. I mean, I might be able to fit the half stack in, or the artist, but it's really tiny and cramped, and you're like, you know, you don't have a lot of space. I'll just use the 50. And when we played with Dukes Deluda, that happened quite a bit. We would play some places that are really small, and I'd bring the 100 watt Katana first in. Then I'll look at the space and go, no, I'll bring a 50. And so I was able to use the 50 in size wise. If I had the Peavey Bandit only, then I would have to kind of sacrifice kind of some of my own space and a lot of space just to kind of like accommodate that amp. And I don't really like doing that. I'm a bit finicky about how when I play, I like things a certain way. because if there are a certain way I feel like I can perform better, I get a bit kind of like funny about kind of having things in the way and stuff like this. So I like things a certain way, and like I say, the Katana 50, because it's so tiny, just covers all bases, and there's been so many times where it's just saved. It's been a space saver, it really has. I mean, there's been so many times where I can put it out the way, like just, and I've got more space. I've got so much more space in my pedal board or my guitars or me, and it's just so much more comfortable. Whereas the Peavey Bandit, been such a big monstrous amp. I mean, it's not massive, but it is massive. Big 112 amp. It takes up a lot more real estate, so to say, and I don't like feeling hemmed in. Like, if your amp's like at your back and your pedal board is at your feet and you can't move, I really don't like that. It really kind of bugs me. I feel a bit, I don't feel claustrophobic, but it kind of it's got that kind of feeling of like I'm not free. I can't move, and I don't like it. So I like the idea of being able to move. If I can just walk forward a step and walk back a step, that gives me a bit more freedom of movement. Because I like to, when I play live, I like to move. I like to walk around or whatever. If the space is big enough, I'll run around, but that's very rare. But I like to be able to perform. You know what I mean? I like to be able to kind of like, really give it all I've got. And if I'm hemmed in and I can't move, I feel that I can't perform properly because I'm just kind of like cramped into this space, and it's really awkward and not very nice. So, yeah, I don't really enjoy that so much. But as I say, the 50-watt Katana sorts that problem out. There's nowhere there that little thing can't fit. It's tiny, it's mighty, and it's a beast. Whereas the Peavey Bandit is a bit bigger, and it's a bit more of an obnoxious beast. Okay, so another reason to pick the Katana 50 over the Bandit is weight. The Peavey Bandit is a fairly heavy... It's not ridiculously heavy, but it's a fairly heavy amp. And when the Katana 50 came into my life, I was looking for a smaller amp that wasn't my orange half stack or my MG half stack. I needed something small, light, but mighty, because I'd done my back in at the time. My back was absolutely ruined at the time. I needed to rest it. I needed to go to combos. I've always used half stacks or double stacks or two double stacks or three cabs, depending. And I love that sound more than anything. And I was looking, and like I said, I had a Peavey Bandit. I had a high watt, max watt amp at one point. Marshall Master Reverb. What else did I have? 5210 Marshall. Like I said, I had the Peavey Bandit Silver Stripe, Peavey Bandit Red Stripe. And they were all amazing amplifiers. But they didn't feel like a 412 cab. They didn't fill the space like a 412 cab did. And that's what I was missing. When I gigged with the Peavey Bandit or like the Marshall Master Reverb, they sounded great, but they didn't fill the space enough. Like, there wasn't enough kind of like spread of sound. When you play for a 412 cab, the spread is huge. It just goes. The sound is so big. But with the amps I was using, the combos I was using, it's not getting it. And the Bandit was no exception to that rule. It just didn't seem to fill the void I felt. I had cab loss, and it just didn't feel right. So I was struggling with that, and I was like, I don't really know what to do. And then the Katana came along, and I was like, it filled the void perfectly. The 50 watt, the 50, the 100, and the Artist. How they've done that to feel that way, to be that big of a sound, I'll never know. But it's wicked, and I love it nonetheless. But so yeah, insane really. But yeah, and again, coming back to weight, the Katanas are so light. The 50 watt especially weighs absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. There really is nothing in that amp to carry. It's not heavy. It's not at all. But it's so big when it plays, and it's so great. So that's another thing. The reason why I love the Katana over the Bandit is just weight, because the Peavey Bandit is so heavy for what it is. It's big magnet on the speaker, and it's just a very big amp. It's a very not clumsy, sorry, that's the wrong word, but very kind of like cumbersome. It's very big, and it kind of lumbers around the place, and it's very big, and it sounds great, but my god, is it big. But the katana is smaller, lighter, but bigger sounding. It's weird. It shouldn't be, technically it shouldn't be that way, but it is. Anyway, but it's really, really cool. Anyway, I love it. But so that's another factor. Tonality-wise, they're on par. The Peavey Bandit, well, and actually, no, they're not, because the Peavey Bandit sounds amazing, but I think the katana sounds better, personally. I reckon the katana's got a better sound overall. The katana beats the Peavey Bandit on options, tonally. You got the tone studio. You can do so much with it. Peavey Bandit, you got 2 channels. The Katana 50, you've got 4. You've got all these effects you can program into the Katana 50. That you can all access via a foot switch. It's not the K switch, but you can add like a foot switch to it. And you can do that. You've got a line out on the thing for recording. You've got headphones out. I don't remember if the Bandit has headphones out or a line out. I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm not 100% sure. But the line out on the 50 is amazing. It's just ridiculous. It's just unbelievable. The katana just beats it hands down for features and tone, in my opinion. The Bandit sounds great. It does. It sounds amazing, but the Bandit just rules. The katana just rules over it. It really does. It's just got so much more. It really has. It's just incredible, really. So one thing I will say though, and this is the negative side of the Katana 50. Is the Katana 50's speaker has a little bit of a fizz in it. Not a big issue after a while. In all fairness, you only really notice it when if you're playing the Katana 50 in a band situation, you don't hear it. But when you're playing it on its own, sometimes you can get this kind of like, you hear this kind of fizz in the speaker. It's not a deal breaker. I would still pick a 50 over the Bandit any day of the week. But there is a kind of like this kind of like waspiness over the top of the sound in the 50. It's not there in the 100. I'm guessing because it's a different speaker. But for some reason it's there in the 50. But it's not a deal breaker. I'd still pick the Katana over the Bandit any day of the week. It just sounds and feels and is tonally, I think, better. And again, options-wise, the versatility-wise of the Katana cannot be understated. That thing can do so much. And if copyright wasn't an issue, I would do how many tones could you get out of that amp in a microsecond. But copyright being an issue, I can't do that, which is very, very, very annoying. Because I'm pretty much convinced that there isn't a single tone you couldn't get out of the 50 or 100 or the artist. I'm pretty sure they're all in there somewhere. They're terrifying. They really are terrifying. The katanas are terrifyingly awesome. I love them to bits. And in all fairness, that is the reason why I don't miss my Peavey Bandits. I had the silver stripe and I had the red stripe. And the red stripe was the best one I've tried. I've tried all the bandits, apart from the new Bandit. I haven't tried the new Bandit, but I've tried all the other Bandits, and the red stripe was to me the one that really, that's the sound. That's the best Bandit. But the Katana came along, and it made me just kind of like go, I don't miss them I love them, but I don't miss them because I've got that. I'd much rather have that than the Bandit. I'd much rather have the cat than the Bandit. The Cat Bandit, new amp. Anyway, but yeah, I just, if you were to ask me which one would I recommend, I'd recommend the Katana. But you have to go out and you have to try these things out for yourselves and find which one you like and why do you like it. You have to spend some time and experience them yourself, so so it's kind of like barreling into it kind of blind, so to say. There is a reason, there is method behind the madness, so to say. I prefer the Katanas just because I played on the red stripe extensively when I had it, and the silver stripe for that matter. I used my silver stripe quite a lot, but as soon as the Katana came along, it was night and day. It really was kind of like, I'm sorry, Peavey Bandits, I love you to bits, but you've been beaten here. And I say, especially with stuff like the Tone Studio, even without the Tone Studio, you don't need the Tone Studio to get a great sound out of a Katana. It wasn't until this year end of last year, really, I dove into the tone studio. Was it just this year I dove into the tone studio? It was more lockdown time, beginning of this year, where I really kind of like went to the tone studio. I didn't need it. You know, you don't need the tone studio to make that thing sound good. The only reason I used the tone studio on the cats more than anything was to get the univibe. That is like the only effect I wanted, really. I mean, I'd be quite happy to... If the univibe was set in there as from the get-go, I probably wouldn't even bother with the tone studio. I probably wouldn't care. But because I wanted to experience what it can do, you know, it was good fun. But I don't feel the need to go into the tone studio again. You know what I mean? My Boss Katana artist that's there, and the Boss Katana 50 and the Boss Katana 100 that's back home in England, I don't feel the need to tweak them with the tone studio anymore. I've done everything I need to do to them. They are just set now. Like I say, I'm a creature of habit, so once things are the way that I want them, they stay that way. You know, I don't tweak and I don't mess with things like that. Once they sound the way I want them to sound, they stay there. So, yeah, that's why I'd pick it. Like I say, there is a negative on the side of the 50, which is the speaker. But again, you can always change the speaker out, if you need to. Personally, I wouldn't even bother. I think the speaker sounds fine. That fizz in the speaker is annoying sometimes, but you can kind of like, you can get by. You can get over it. It's not the end of the world. If I can get through it, anyone can, because I don't like that sound, but I don't like that fizz that sits sometimes over the top of your sound. But it's not the end of the world. I can, you can get through it and get by past it and stuff. So yeah, that's what I would pick, and that's why I pick it. So, because it's just ace. So, yeah, hope that's a question. So again, people of Tube, you're A and Q as well. Let's put this question to you as well. So if you had to pick between the Boss Katana 50 and the Peavey Bandit, any of the Peavey Bandits, which one would you pick and why? Let us know in the comment section below. Okay, so I enjoyed sharing these questions with you people of Tube. That was really good fun. I really like that. Cool, I like it. Okay, so I'd love to do this one day. I have a dream, everybody, which is one day I'd love to do like a meet and greet live A and Q, where we can kind of like do this in person. I would love that. That'd be so cool. I think I'd love to do that. So hopefully one day, fingers crossed, and touch wood. That's not wood, that's steel. That's wood. Hopefully one day that can happen. But anyway, so if you want to submit a question for A and Q Wednesday, everybody, description box below has an email link. Email me there. And as usual, thank you very much for your questions. I hope I answered them okay. I hope there's been something that you can kind of take away. And like I say, let me know your answers in the comment section below. And I will see you again on Friday for another vid. Yes, I'm not going to tell you what the Friday's vid is, but it's going to be interesting. Hopefully interesting. So, going to let you into the mind of Dave a bit, but that's a bit weird. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to get off because that was strange. So, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I'll see you again. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and a very goodbye now. Where's the sun? Look, the sun's here now. Goodbye now. Thank you.